Alright guys, I know I've been gone for like a month, I know I'm fake as hell, I'm sorry, okay, but I saw the most insane headline and I knew I had to drop a video on it today. So today we are going to be taking a look at a story surrounding something that really I can only deem as disgusting, negligent, and honestly very sad and even worrisome, I'd say. Like, I know sometimes I get on here on the mic and I play this character, right, where I crank everything up to 1,000 for the content. I'm a little overly dramatic at times, I'll admit that, but this is honestly for real. So there's this game that came out, right? I don't know if y'all have heard about it, but it was called No Mercy, and the premise of this game is you're like on some weird ass stalker shit. Dead ass, you're like a Redditor or like some sort of incel Discord moderator just stalking a bunch of women. And then eventually in the fucking game, no joke, you sexually assault these victims. Like, I wish I were kidding, but that's dead ass the premise of this video game. So today I figured we could go ahead and check out an article surrounding it, and I'll of course give all my thoughts on it. Let's go ahead and roll this shit. What is No Mercy, the controversial game banned abroad and removed in US? A violent and sexually explicit video game called No Mercy has sparked international backlash and political condemnation, with it being removed from the Steam platform globally after being banned in multiple countries. So I know we've barely even begun here. I want to point out the blatant and, might I add, gross incompetence here. Like, this is all taking place over at Steam, right? Which, if y'all are not like me and you actually have this little thing called a life or whatever it is y'all are calling it, and you're not into video games and all that, totally understandable if that's not your thing. But essentially, if you don't know, Steam is this online market and distributor of PC video games. One of, if not the biggest in the space. I'd have to go and fact check that, but they're definitely up there, right? My point being, this isn't some fucking Billy Bob's, Nintendos, and vape carts, right? Like, this company is one of the juggernauts in the space. So I'm gonna need to know how this one managed to slip through the fucking cracks, you feel me? Like, this is so unbelievably unprofessional and unbelievably dangerous on so many levels. When you're this established in whatever area of expertise it may be, like, this honestly goes well beyond just video games. There's honestly no excuse for a fuck up this massive. Like, there is no excuse for this, but let's keep going. What is the game about? No Mercy appeared on the PC gaming platform Steam in early April. The game allowed players to control a character who tortures and kills women. It did not carry an age rating or content warning and was described by some users and critics as a, quote, rape simulator. No Mercy features scenes in which the player, who then becomes pregnant, gives birth to a baby, and is then murdered along with her newborn. The game was created by developer Zerat Games and included scenes of extreme violence and sexual assault. It was available for a short time before being removed. So, like, dog, what do y'all even want me to say about something like this? Like, this game features the ability to stalk, harass, and then sexually violate women. Like, I really need I say more on this. Keep in mind, I know I said this already, but this is such incompetence by Steam, because how are y'all gonna let a game like this slip through the cracks when it didn't even have rating criteria? Like doesn't the ESRB, require games and publishers to include that? Like, isn't it against the law not to? I don't know. I actually fact checked this. It's not against the law. I thought it was, but it's not. So Steam, and specifically Valve here, they allow pretty much anything on there. I think that's a huge red flag, but that's something that is currently allowed, I guess. But I mentioned that, of course, though, because this material that, honestly, let's be real for a second, let's keep it a buck here. Adults shouldn't be viewing something like this, let alone little kids. And it's just publicly available, or should I say was publicly available, because it's since been removed. But it's just publicly available there on Steam. Anyone can find this game, click on it, purchase it, right? Because Steam doesn't have any sort of like age verification or anything, right? Like, it's not like the hub, right, where they like ask you, are you above 18? Which is, you can easily bypass something like that. But like, they don't even got that over on Steam. Like, if you got a credit card or even like a PayPal account, you're fucking good to go, right? You're ready to start pillaging, to start plundering, and just playing the fuck out of this vile video game, man. Like, it was just chilling there without any sort of rating criteria or anything, no reason to dissuade people from clicking on it. I don't even want to know how many kids clicked on this by mistake, but what I do want to know is how many people knowingly purchased this game and played the fuck out of it, because it's about time those fatherfuckers get banished to, I don't know, Alcatraz or Guantanamo Bay, or even hell for all I care, because what the fuck has to be wrong with you to sit back and play something like this? Like, you gotta be one sick individual. But equally as important to point out, and what I haven't seen a whole lot of people mention, is the developers, man. Like, these people don't get a pass either, I'm afraid, because, like, who the fuck do Zerat Games think they are, right? So, there's certain topics, there's certain themes, certain actions and behaviors in video games that are just off limits, right? There's zero exceptions made. And I feel like sexual assault and murdering babies is one of them. I mean, like, for God's sakes, do I really even need to say more on that? Like, these are just topics that shouldn't be viewed by anyone. I mean, even GTA, Grand Theft Auto and their publisher Rockstar, even they don't go that far. They don't take it that far, because they understand that these are not things that are suitable for anyone. They understand that video games are meant to be innocent fun and not avenues for living out our sick, disgusting fantasies. Like, anyone that had any sort of involvement in this game, whether it be the developers, whether it be people that put time in to play this game, whoever the fuck you are, if you had any involvement in this, you honestly deserve to have your testicle privileges revoked. Like, I know crazy, that might be a little controversial, but like, this whole freaking thing is so absurd. And when you really break it down, you really start to understand that. I mean, like, this is a video game made by, I guess, a pretty small, like, indie team, right? Meaning that this idea was dwelled upon for a fucking minute, right? Like, you have to come up with the ideal premise, right? You have to draft out all the storyboards, you have to have a script. You gotta have the voice lines recorded, the animations, God forbid the fucking animations, the disgusting ass, oh my god, I hate this whole situation, man. You and I live on the same planet, we live on the same planetary rock as some of these sick motherfuckers that will go ahead and animate something like this and see no problem with it. Like, this is not something that can just be made in a goddamn day. Like, this whole fucking rape simulator, let's call it for what it is something that was fucking marinating in the brains of these sick individuals for God knows how long before it became a reality. And the crazy thing is, with that in mind, you would think that these fuckers would have, like, jumped ship, at least some of them would have been like, maybe this isn't such a good product, maybe we shouldn't put this out for the world to view. But nah, instead they kept on trudging forward, tighten up the bootstraps, let's finish this game, right? And for that, I think every one of these people belong in prison. But speaking of the devs and how they deserve to get that TK treatment, if you know what I mean, the situation gets even more insane. Like, you thought it ended there? No. We got an official response. Thank our lucky stars, we got an official response from the dev team themselves. And let's just say these scumbags aren't going to be around much longer, I think. They aren't winning anyone over for sure. And they're definitely not winning any sort of awards anytime soon. But before I get to that response, I really do need to include this part of the article that sort of sets the stage and just overall really drives home just how bad these devs and how bad this game really is. So, No Mercy was released on March 22nd on PC via Valve's super popular digital gaming storefront Steam. The game is described by the developers as, quote, a 3D choice-driven adult visual novel with a huge focus on incest and male domination. In the game, players discover that their mother has cheated on their dad, and they are then told to, quote, claim her for yourself. This leads to multiple scenes involving the player forcing women, including their character's own mother, to have sex with them. The game's description on Steam includes this line: unveil her deepest secrets, subdue her, and make all women yours. So they're really trying to drive home that this is like adult content, right? Like, that this is normal, right? Like, it's normal as long as you're an adult, right? And that could not be further from the truth. But I mean, we're talking about just sick, disgusting, vile actions, right? Like, no person in their right mind, no morally sound person would ever even consider doing something like this. But going on here, we have No Mercy is labeled as, again, adults only, and could only be bought using a credit card. The game is not rated by the ESRB or PEGI, as Valve doesn't require games to be rated by these groups to be sold on Steam. Following Kyle's statements and increasing pressure online, No Mercy was removed from the UK as well as Australia and Canada, presumably by Valve. But yeah, this is where it gets really insane here. Thank God, thank our lucky stars, we got that official response from Zerat Games, the developers behind this disgusting vial of trash. So on April 10th, following all of this and the game being removed from some countries, Zerat Games, the developers behind No Mercy, posted a lengthy response to the controversy on Steam, addressing calls for the game's delisting. In the statement, the studio confirmed it was removing No Mercy from Steam, but nonetheless defended the game, yes, stating that real incest is, quote, disgusting, but things like that, male domination are nonetheless just popular kinks, guys, just popular kinks, totally acceptable. I fully understand that for many people, such things may be disgusting, but during sex, people should really do what they want, as long as they don't harm anyone, said Zerat Games. If after reading our statement, you believe that such a game should not have been created, then we sincerely apologize to you. At the same time, we would like you to be a bit more open to human fetishes that don't harm anyone, even though they may seem disgusting to you. This is still just a game, and although many people are trying to make it into something more, it remains and will continue to be just a game. Shut the fuck up. Nah, Bill Cosby. Let's slam on the fucking brakes for a second here. So, if I'm to understand the situation correctly, y'all want me to sit here and pretend to believe that y'all didn't know what you were doing, right? And that y'all are just some innocent group of people. You were just some high and mighty team of devs that didn't mean to be offensive or anything. No. Y'all were just trying to push an agenda, push this agenda of tolerance and acceptance. And y'all were just trying to be a voice for sexually oppressed people. You're the good guys here, right? And as for us normal people, we're the fucking weirdos. We are the bigots. So let me give it to you straight, just so that there's no confusion here. If y'all sick fucks want to concoct something like this in your little pea-brain, porn-addicted minds, that's cool. Not really, if you want my honest opinion. But, whatever. If that's what you're gonna do, fine, whatever, so be it. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to come out and make a video game about it, depicting it for all these little kids to see, for all these, sick individuals that may act on this to see it, and then try and gaslight the fuck out of us into believing that this behavior is acceptable or that it's normal, right? And that the content within this game is, harmless kinks, as you put it, and that they don't hurt anyone. Like, they really tried doing that. That might be the most insane bit from all of this, to be honest. But, let me go ahead and reread this degenerate shit one more time just so that we really understand. So they said, I fully understand that for many, such things may be disgusting, but during sex, people should really do what they want as long as they don't harm anyone. And yes, I would agree if it's between two consenting individuals. Oh my God, why do I have to come out here and sit on my YouTube soapbox and talk about this? There's really motherfuckers that when it comes to things like consent and, not sexually assaulting people, it just doesn't compute. How is that possible? I don't know. But, also, what the fuck you mean as long as it doesn't hurt anyone? Something like this, it's very dangerous. It's very harmful, because what happens when some weirdo, that's not quite right in the head, sees this game, downloads it, plays it, starts taking in the content, if you will, and then starts thinking to himself, I want to perpetrate these types of things in real life, there's always something I wanted to do, right? But I just needed a little push, and then suddenly he goes out here and starts assaulting women. Suddenly it starts affecting a lot of people. It starts becoming very harmful, right? And so I don't understand how this developer here can sit on his high horse and be like, oh, well, you guys are pieces of shit that need to understand and be more accepting of other human fetishes, and this shit's harmless, when in reality it's bro, this is super toxic, this is super harmful, this has the potential to scar women for life, right? This has the potential to ruin people's lives, right? As far as their sexual relationships, their trust within relationships, this is very, very dangerous shit. And it's crazy to think that this took damn near a month for Steam to be like, maybe we shouldn't have something like this on our platform. Like, that's absurd. And one more thing before I close the video out that I haven't heard people talk much about is that, unfortunately, there's people out there that think that, video games are just of the devil and they're this terrible thing and they promote degeneracy. And there's going to be a lot of Karens out there that this game in particular is their fucking wet dream. This is their ticket to the big time. See, I told you video games are no good. They promote violence. And, I don't know. It's just as a gamer myself, I just hate to see shit like this for that reason. But also, I just feel genuinely sorry for any victim, of sexual assault that sees something like this and then has to listen to these jerk-offs tell them, oh, well, this depiction in this video game is harmless. Yeah, I'm sure they would feel the same way, man. What a fucking dickhead. But, guys, that's pretty much it for the video. I appreciate y'all watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a like rating, subscribe to the channel for more commentaries just like this. Well, actually, let me scratch that. Maybe not like this, because this one was a little insane, a little over the top. I don't usually speak on topics like this, but commentaries nonetheless. You'll hear some of my thoughts. If you like it, you can subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you, but that's about enough of me yapping. I'll catch you on the next one. Later.